step into the suspenseful, gripping world of Midsomer Murders, 1997. The long-running British crime series that captivated audiences with its intricate mysteries and unforgettable characters. Over the years, the show has introduced viewers to countless talented actors whose performances brought the picturesque yet deadly villages of Midsomer to life. Sadly, some of these iconic stars have tragically passed away, leaving fans with cherished memories of their work. In this video, we honor the actors who contributed to the show's enduring legacy, celebrate their careers, and reflect on the lasting impact they left on Midsomer Murders and its devoted fans. Barry Jackson was 59 when he joined Midsomer Murders in 1997 as Dr. George Bullard, the measured and wry pathologist, whose dry humor and clinical precision made him the silent backbone of the show's investigations. On screen, Bullard brought calm intellect and a subtle comedic sensibility to the chaos of murder in the quaint yet deadly villages of Midsomer. Yet Jackson's own life contained complexities far beyond this composed facade. Born March 29, 1938 in Birmingham, England, to working-class parents, he grew up amid post-war austerity, where the values of discipline, restraint, and perseverance shaped his early character. Jackson's childhood was colored by emotional repression, a common trait in mid-century Britain, which he later transformed into layered performances, most notably as Horace, a mentally challenged man, in a 1972 BBC drama that challenged societal norms around disability and empathy. His formative years included navigating a conservative educational system while nurturing his artistic ambitions, eventually leading him to LAMDA, where classical training honed his subtle expressiveness. Behind the scenes, Jackson's personal life was a balancing act of devotion and quiet struggle. He married 3 times, fathered 6 children, and contended privately with health challenges, including an ultimately fatal battle with cancer. Despite his modest financial standing, his estate estimated under $500,000, Jackson cultivated a rich career spanning stage, television, and film, including a small but notable role in Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon, as well as 76 episodes of Midsomer Murders that showcased his ability to humanize forensic investigation. His death on December 5, 2013 in London was as understated as his life, leaving a legacy of professionalism, empathy, and artistry that continues to resonate with audiences, proving that a quiet, disciplined life can create work of enduring depth and cultural resonance. Tony Haygarth was 56 when he appeared in Midsomer Murders in 2001 as George Napier, a character who seemed at first benign, a birdwatcher with gentle manners, but whose hidden complexities gradually emerged, exposing secrets, vulnerability, and the capacity for moral ambiguity. Born February 4, 1945 in Liverpool, Haygarth grew up in a working-class Catholic household, a combination that infused his personality with resilience, introspection, and a keen awareness of human contradiction. Early adulthood saw him wandering through multiple professions, escapology, psychiatric nursing, lifeguarding, before fully committing to the stage, each experience layering his understanding of human fragility, eccentricity, and psychological tension. Haygarth's acting was informed by a lifelong sense of displacement, his own words describing himself as a man who never quite fit in, which lent authenticity to roles such as Renfield in Dracula, 1979, where his embodiment of madness and obsession became iconic. Yet the greatest personal tragedy arrived decades later. In 2014, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and vascular dementia diseases that gradually stripped him of memory, speech, and autonomy, shadowing the final years of a life devoted to intellectual curiosity and artistic risk. He died on March 10, 2017 in Kent, divorced and estranged from parts of his family, leaving an estate estimated at $300,000, including royalties from Chicken Run and stage plays such as The Lie, which explored themes of obsession and mortality. Haygarth's enduring legacy lies not in wealth, but in the fearless, sometimes unsettling humanity of his performances, in the relentless pursuit of understanding Shakespeare's Dark Lady, and in his ability to fuse comedy and pathos, illuminating the contradictions and hidden truths of human nature, making him a quietly revolutionary figure in British theatre and television. Timothy Bateson was 72 when he portrayed James Jocelyn in Midsomer Murders in 1998, a solicitor whose outward propriety concealed moral ambiguity, illustrating Bateson's extraordinary skill at blending understated menace with genteel charm. Born April 3, 1926 in London into a family of legal distinction, his father, Sir Dingwall Bateson, was a respected barrister. Timothy chose a radically different path, rejecting the predictable prestige of law for the unpredictable rigors of theater and performance. Educated at Wadham College, Oxford, he excelled academically, and as a coxswain, yet felt a persistent tension between societal expectation and personal calling. A tension that informed the existential depth of his early breakthrough role as Lucky in Waiting for Godot, 1955. Over decades, Bateson became known for his subtlety, emotional precision, and mastery of voice, lending his talents to radio dramas, television, and film, most memorably as the voice of Kreacher in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Personal life offered stability on the surface, married to actress Sheila Shand Gibbs from 1953 until his death with 3 children and a shared Christian faith. Yet beneath that calm lay the weight of aristocratic expectation and an unceasing drive for artistic integrity. Bateson's health eventually declined, and he passed away on September 15, 2009 in London, leaving a modest estate yet an immense professional legacy of over 200 screen credits. His portrayal of Jocelyn remains a study in controlled menace and psychological nuance, while his broader career exemplifies a paradox. A man of privilege who devoted his life to illuminating the marginalized, the morally complex, and the overlooked, creating performances that continue to resonate and inspire, proving that subtlety, discipline, and intelligence can leave a cultural imprint as enduring as any spectacle. Frank Mills, born April 11, 1927 in London, was 72 when he took on the role of Ezra in Midsomer Murders in 1999, portraying a character whose quiet, brooding presence and intimate knowledge of village secrets created a palpable tension whenever he appeared on screen. Ezra was a man of rural solitude, enigmatic and haunted, whose every glance suggested a life lived under scrutiny and constraint, reflecting Mills's own capacity to convey depth with subtlety, rather than overt action. Raised in a working-class London household during the interwar years, Mills was the son of a tram driver and a seamstress growing up amid rationing austerity and the ever-present shadow of the Second World War. Early struggles included a stammer and intense social anxiety, which compounded his sense of isolation, but also nurtured a keen observational skill that later became a hallmark of his acting, enabling him to capture the unspoken nuances of character. Mills's adult life was marked by profound personal tragedies. The death of his wife in the 1980s left him emotionally adrift, intensifying periods of depression and public withdrawal. Acting became his refuge and therapy. Roles like Ezra allowed him to externalize emotions he had long suppressed, communicating sorrow, suspicion, and humanity without a single forced gesture. Despite his reclusive tendencies, Mills maintained a disciplined engagement with his craft, participating in theater productions, television series, and film projects well into his later years, always bringing a precision and gravitas that few actors could replicate. He passed away on February 11, 2021, aged 93, leaving an estate modestly valued at around $500,000. Yet his legacy extends far beyond monetary measures. Mills's work gave voice to those overlooked by society, portraying vulnerability, dignity, and quiet despair, with a depth that lingered in the consciousness of audiences, creating a record of performance that celebrates restraint, human complexity, and the subtle power of storytelling through observation. Ronald Pickup, born June 7, 1940 in Chester, England, was 63 when he played Ernest Balliol in Midsomer Murders in 2003. A character whose academic arrogance and existential disquiet masked a deeply human vulnerability. Balliol's presence on screen was commanding yet unsettling, with every line and pause conveying both intellectual superiority and the loneliness of someone who felt misaligned with the world around him. Pickup's upbringing contributed to this nuanced understanding of character. The son of a lecturer father and a mother who prized stoicism over emotion, he grew up in a house filled with knowledge but lacking warmth, a duality that inspired both his fascination with literature and the development of a careful, reflective inner life. His professional career was marked by a remarkable capacity for transformation, embodying roles ranging from George Orwell to King Lear, demonstrating meticulous research, technical precision, and a subtle emotionality that few actors achieve. Personal hardships were frequent and intense. His daughter Rachel's near-fatal illness in the 1990s profoundly affected him, while chronic health issues forced him to hide vulnerability from the public eye. The death of his wife led Pickup to retreat from the stage, appearing only selectively, focusing on projects that allowed him to maintain artistic integrity rather than visibility. Pickup's work extended beyond theater to television and film, always characterized by measured gravitas, impeccable timing, and a profound command of presence, drawing viewers into the lives of complex, flawed, yet compelling characters. He died on February 24, 2021, aged 80, leaving an estate estimated at $5 million. But his true legacy lies in the enduring influence of his performances, a demonstration of the art of subtlety, the power of restraint, and the ability to communicate profound human truths through even the smallest gestures, leaving audiences and fellow actors inspired by his dedication, insight, and depth of craft. Hayden Gwynne, born March 21, 1957 in Hurstpierpoint, West Sussex, was 47 when she appeared as Jennifer Carter in Midsomer Murders in 2004, a role that highlighted her fierce intelligence, emotional complexity, and the delicate balance between poise and psychological unraveling. On screen, Jennifer was sharp, insightful, and quietly intense, a character who navigated societal pressures and personal insecurities with grace brought to life by Gwynne's ability to convey both wit and vulnerability simultaneously. Gwynne's own childhood was shaped by intellectual rigor and emotional restraint. She was the daughter of a civil servant father and a fiercely independent mother, whose high expectations instilled in her a combination of discipline, determination, and a drive for excellence. Before fully pursuing acting, Gwynne worked as an English teacher in Rome, suppressing her creative impulses while developing skills in communication and pedagogy that later informed her nuanced performances. Her personal life was marked by resilience in the face of challenges and a steadfast commitment to her craft. In 2023, she was diagnosed with cancer and died on October 20th at the age of 66. Cutting short preparations for a major stage revival and leaving the theater world grieving the loss of one of its most fearless and versatile performers. Gwynne's estate, including London property and royalties, was valued at over $2 million. Yet her enduring influence lies far beyond material wealth. She was a champion for strong female roles, a mentor to emerging actors, and a performer who confronted the raw truths of human emotion without flinching, shaping cultural perceptions of depth, intelligence, and resilience in performance. Her work across television, film, and theater exemplifies a fearless commitment to artistry, creating characters that linger in memory long after the curtain falls, and establishing her as a vital and uncompromising voice in contemporary British performing arts. Una Stubbs appeared as Audrey Brailsford in Midsomer Murders in 1998 at the age of 61, portraying a character whose poised, genteel exterior masked cunning hidden motives and a lifelong reservoir of secrets. On screen, Audrey's refined manners, soft-spoken intelligence, and subtle manipulations made her simultaneously sympathetic and unsettling, a testament to Stubbs' ability to imbue depth into every role. Born on May 1, 1937 in Welwyn Garden City, Hertfordshire, to a factory worker father and a homemaker mother, Una grew up in modest circumstances, feeling emotionally unseen and neglected, which fostered an early sense of independence and self-reliance. Her childhood was punctuated by a yearning for attention and validation, which she initially sought through dance and modeling, eventually discovering acting as a path to command space and identity. Stubbs' personal life was complex. Her first marriage to actor Peter Gilmore ended in heartbreak, leaving her to raise 2 children largely alone. And the later death of her second husband, actor Nicky Henson, compounded the challenges of aging with chronic arthritis, which limited her physical mobility. Yet these hardships fueled her creativity rather than dampened it, as she turned to painting spiritual exploration and mentoring young actors, cultivating an enduring presence both on and off stage. Stubbs remained professionally active into her later years, delivering performances that balanced charm, subtle menace, and intelligence, leaving audiences captivated. She passed away on August 12, 2021, at age 84. Her estate, including a modest London flat and royalties, was valued at roughly £1 million. More than her tangible assets, Stubbs's legacy is her ability to make every character, regardless of screen time, linger in the cultural memory, a rare gift born from a life shaped by early neglect, personal loss, and the steadfast pursuit of artistic authenticity. Beyond public knowledge, she maintained lifelong private journals, detailing her emotional struggles and creative process, revealing a reflective and deeply introspective side that informed the humanity of her performances. Elizabeth Spriggs took on the role of Iris Rainbird in the inaugural episode of Midsomer Murders in 1997 at the age of 67, creating a character whose nosy curiosity, subtle cruelty, and authoritative presence immediately left an indelible mark on viewers. Iris was the archetypal village gossip with a moral ambiguity that blurred the line between entertainment and menace, perfectly matched by Spriggs' own sharp observational instincts and commanding voice. Born on September 18, 1929, in Buxton, Derbyshire, she grew up in a strict Methodist household that emphasized obedience, suppressed emotional expression, and denied personal ambition, leaving her with a lifetime of quiet rebellion and a capacity for acute perception of others' motives. Her first marriage ended in emotional estrangement, leaving behind a daughter, a decision that haunted her for decades, and the death of her second husband, actor Murray Manson, in the 1980s plunged her into a profound depression, testing her resilience and commitment to her craft. Despite these personal upheavals, Spriggs rebuilt her career through persistent stage work, often performing Shakespeare and other demanding roles that honed her authority and precision as a performer. She translated her early experiences of emotional suppression and isolation into on-screen power-crafting characters capable of both humor and chilling intensity. Spriggs passed away on July 2008 at age 78. Her estate, modest at approximately $600,000, belied the magnitude of her influence on British theatre and television. Her legacy resides in her fearless performances, the psychological complexity she brought to every role, and the inspiration she provided to younger actors navigating both personal and professional adversity. Unbeknownst to many, she maintained a private archive of diaries and correspondence that chronicled her persistent struggles with depression and creative insecurity, shedding light on the inner fortitude that enabled her to thrive professionally despite profound personal setbacks. Anna Massey portrayed Brenda Packard in Midsomer Murders in 1998 at the age of 60, delivering a performance where the character's brittle emotional facade, simmering resentment, and concealed fragility mirrored Massey's own lifelong navigation of personal trauma and emotional isolation. Brenda's complexity, her outwardly controlled manner, concealing inner turmoil, allowed Massey to channel decades of lived experience into a performance both precise and deeply affecting. Born on August 11, 1937 in Thockham, Sussex, to actor Raymond Massey and a family embedded in theatrical tradition, her childhood was marked by parental divorce, a cold and distant mother, and the emotional consequences of being sent to boarding school at a young age where she developed a stammer and deep-seated fears of intimacy. Her personal life included a marriage to actor Jeremy Brett that ended when he left her for a man, precipitating an emotional crisis compounded by struggles with anorexia and depression, forcing her into a period of withdrawal from public life. Yet, Massey returned to acting with renewed intensity, cultivating a reputation for portraying women of icy precision, psychological depth, and sometimes fragility, bordering on danger, making her a master of characters living on the edge. She passed away from cancer on July 3, 2011 at age 73. Her estate, including literary rights and property, was valued at over $1.2 million. Beyond material assets, Massey's enduring legacy lies in her ability to transform personal devastation into artistic mastery, creating performances that continue to resonate as studies of emotional complexity, resilience, and human vulnerability. Few realize the meticulous attention she gave to script and character preparation, often keeping detailed journals analyzing her roles and personal reactions, demonstrating a dedication to craft that allowed her to convert private pain into compelling and haunting public artistry. Richard Johnson was 72 when he appeared as James Fitzroy in Midsomer Murders. 1999, portraying a man of aristocratic bearing, clipped manners, and understated menace whose obsessive devotion to tradition and hunting concealed a decaying moral core, a performance that echoed Johnson's own private battles with loss and ambition. Born July 30th, 1927 in Upminster, Essex to working-class parents, he fought against modest beginnings. To attend RADA, immersing himself in Shakespeare and classical theater, which became both a refuge and a proving ground for his relentless drive. His childhood was colored by wartime anxieties and a strict emotionally restrained upbringing, instilling a need to appear impervious, and in control traits he carried into adulthood. Johnson's personal life was a labyrinth of heartbreak and scandal. His high-profile marriage to Hollywood star Kim Novak ended painfully, and repeated brushes with depression were masked by a charismatic public persona that belied the private turmoil of a man navigating fame and expectation. These experiences prompted him to channel his energies into writing and mentoring, guiding younger actors, and chronicling the subtle mechanics of performance and stagecraft, though he remained reticent about his own vulnerabilities. Johnson's later years were quieter, devoted to cultivating his collection of rare books, art, and theatrical memorabilia, reflecting a lifelong dedication to culture and refinement. He passed away on June 5, 2015, aged 87, from a brief illness, leaving an estate worth approximately $2 million. Yet his true legacy resided in his prodigious influence on British theater and television, his uncompromising standards, and a rumored unpublished memoir containing intimate revelations of the British stage elite. A secret treasure hidden by family, hinting at scandals and backstage truths the world will never fully see, cementing him as a man whose life was as layered and compelling as the roles he inhabited. Tom Beard was 37 when he appeared as Martin Fulmer in Midsomer Murders, 2002, playing a school coach whose rigid exterior barely concealed the gnawing guilt and inner conflict that Beard channeled into his performance with unnerving precision, revealing a depth that suggested lived experience rather than mere technique. Born April 25, 1965 in Lambeth, London, to a surgeon father and flautist mother, he grew up in a home of high expectations and emotional formality, where affection was measured and achievement paramount, leaving him emotionally insulated and driving him toward the expressive refuge of drama. As a teenager, he almost pursued professional rugby, but turned instead to acting, discovering a way to transmute personal tension into compelling stage and screen work. His career was marked by intensity and brooding roles, including appearances with the Royal Shakespeare Company and in films like Salmon Fishing in the Yemen, yet his private life remained modest and grounded, often in stark contrast to the high-profile characters he portrayed. In 2015, Beard was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, a swift and cruel illness that ended his life on July 20th at just 50, leaving a grieving wife, Polly, and 2 children behind. His estate, modest at roughly $1.5 million, reflected a career built on artistic dedication rather than wealth accumulation. Beard's legacy endures in the quiet dignity of his performances, the meticulous care with which he approached his craft, and in personal refuges such as the garden, he cultivated obsessively a space of order and reflection amid the chaos of fame, emblematic of a life that sought balance between public acclaim and private solace, and a reminder of the fragility and intensity of talent cut prematurely short. Rosalind Knight was 69 when she appeared as Eleanor Macpherson in Midsomer Murders, 2003, a character as sharp-tongued, eccentric, and subtly poignant as Knight herself, embodying wit and secrecy with a performance that left an indelible mark despite limited screen time. Born December 3rd, 1933 in Marylebone, London, to the distinguished actor Esmond Knight and comedienne Frances Clare, her childhood was both theatrical and emotionally fraught as her father's blindness from a WCW injury cast a long, complex shadow over family life, compelling her to navigate insecurity with humor and poise. She spent her formative years learning to conceal vulnerability behind comic timing, a skill that would define a 6-decade career spanning carry-on, films, television, sitcoms, and drama, while confronting persistent typecasting and the marginalization of women in an industry that often valued youth over experience. Knight's later life was shaped by physical challenges, including arthritis and social isolation. Yet, she continued to work selectively mentoring younger actors and maintaining her creative engagement through annotated scripts and performance notes. She passed away on December 19, 2020, aged 87, leaving an estate valued at approximately $1 million, including vintage costumes and personal memorabilia. But her true legacy lies in her fearless defiance of ageism, her incisive wit, and her unwavering commitment to the craft of acting. Unpublished diaries are said to contain scathing critiques of the British entertainment industry's treatment of older women, offering a rare glimpse into the private thoughts of a performer who refused to be silenced and cementing Knight as a quietly revolutionary figure whose career combined resilience, sharp intellect, and a life lived unapologetically in the service of art. June Whitfield was 80 when she appeared in Midsomer Murders in 2005 as Molly Darnley, a widow, whose genteel exterior barely concealed a life filled with secret regrets and quiet resilience. On screen, Molly's composure and subtle wit mask the depth of her hidden sorrows, and Whitfield's performance lent a gravitas to the character that suggested decades of lived experience behind a polite smile. Born November 11th, 1925 in Streatham, London, she was the only child of an insurance executive father and a nurse mother growing up amid the upheavals of wartime Britain, including the emotional strain of losing her father at an early age. Her childhood shaped a keen observational intelligence and a wry humor that would later become her signature, but it also left her with a sense of isolation that she carried throughout her life. Whitfield's rise to prominence was steady rather than meteoric early radio work, segued into stage and eventually television, where her performances in Terry and June and Absolutely Fabulous revealed a rare ability to combine warmth timing and subtle irony. Yet her personal life was marked by profound loss, most notably the death of her husband Tim Aitchison in 2001, which she endured with quiet dignity, never remarrying and instead channeling her energy into mentoring young performers and writing memoirs that blended humor with reflection. Her later years were filled with continued work charity and the careful curation of a career that spanned 7 decades, demonstrating resilience and professionalism. Whitfield passed away peacefully on December 28, 2018 at age 93, leaving an estate valued around $3 million, including a London flat royalties from decades of performances and treasured BBC memorabilia. Her legacy extends beyond her material estate. It resides in the influence she exerted on British comedy, the mentorship she offered, and the reminder that laughter can serve as both armor and artistic expression, making her story one of enduring inspiration, a testament to a life lived fully in both public and private spheres. John Shrapnel was 56 when he took on the role of Leo Clark in Midsomer Murders in 1998, portraying a literary critic whose acerbic intellect and emotional repression gave him a chilling presence on screen. Clark's sharp tongue and meticulous dissection of human foibles were perfectly mirrored in Shrapnel's own disciplined approach to acting, revealing a lifetime spent mastering voice gesture and psychological subtlety. Born April 27, 1942 in Birmingham, England, into a household steeped in scholarship and journalism, his father Norman Shrapnel was a prominent political correspondent. John's upbringing emphasized intellectual rigor, debate, and propriety. Yet early challenges including dyslexia and a stammer forced him to retreat into books and imagination, cultivating a private inner world that would inform his nuanced performances. His career spanned stage television and film, with acclaimed appearances in classical theater and contemporary dramas, allowing him to channel both personal discipline and emotional depth into every role. Tragedy struck when his wife Francesca Bartley fell ill with cancer in 2000. Her extended illness and eventual death in 2012 left Shrapnel profoundly bereft, withdrawing him from much public work and constraining his performances to select deeply resonant projects. Beyond acting, he maintained a rich intellectual life, collecting rare manuscripts and cultivating a secluded home in Somerset, where he could write and reflect. John Shrapnel passed away on February 14, 2020 at age 77, leaving an estate estimated at $2 million. His legacy is defined not merely by the roles he inhabited, but by the intensity, intellect, and subtle emotional resonance he brought to them. While his journals remain unpublished, they hint at a life of contemplation and complexity, revealing a man whose private struggles and disciplined artistry intertwined to leave an indelible mark on British theatre and film, an enduring testament to the power of understated brilliance. Patricia Brake was 61 when she appeared as Anne Quaritch in Midsomer Murders in 2000, playing a woman whose maternal warmth and quiet desperation hinted at deep personal scars. On screen, Anne's character navigated the hidden tensions of family life with a tenderness that belied the turmoil simmering beneath, and Brake's performance lent authenticity and emotional weight to these undercurrents. Born June 25, 1942 in Bath, Somerset, Brake experienced a fractured childhood after her father abandoned the family, leaving her to be raised by a resilient single mother. This early sense of emotional deprivation shaped her capacity to convey vulnerability and strength in equal measure, while instilling a work ethic that propelled her through rigorous training at RADA and a career spanning stage, film, and television. Brake became a familiar presence in British households through roles in Porridge the Lovers and numerous other productions. But her personal life was marked by harrowing incidents, including her son's near-fatal car accident in the 1980s, which left him with lifelong injuries and fractured her marriage. This period precipitated a decade of depression, during which she turned inward while using her craft and charity work, particularly supporting head injury victims as lifelines. Despite these challenges, Brake continued to perform and mentor, channeling grief into art that resonated with audiences for its sincerity. She passed away on May 28, 2022 at age 79 following a battle with cancer. Her estate, valued at approximately $1.2 million, included a modest home and a collection of handwritten scripts reflecting a life dedicated to performance and storytelling. Brake's legacy is quiet yet profound, a testament to resilience, emotional honesty, and the capacity to transform private pain into performances that illuminate universal human experience, leaving a mark that extends beyond the accolades to the very heart of those who witnessed her craft. Though time has passed, the laughter they gave us still echoes. The cast of Midsomer Murders brought joy to millions, and even though some of them are no longer with us, their performances live on. As we remember those we've lost, we also celebrate the legacy they left behind, one that continues to entertain and connect generations. Thank you for joining us in honoring these unforgettable stars. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tributes to the legends of television history.